What's happening? We're back at the PA podcast here in Dallas. It's your boy C-Roc here, guest hosting, and I have Rich Goldstein with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing if you have already. If you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button on your favorite podcast platform. Rich, what's happening, man? Great to see you, dude.
Yeah, really great to see you.
Yeah, we did a podcast a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago,
Yep.
On my show, and that's how we met. I don't remember how we got connected, but
I think we got connected on Clubhouse.
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you and said, "Hey, man, come on the podcast."
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. And then the thing about this is we keep running into each other at different events.
Yeah.
Which we didn't coordinate, but we just happen to see each other. So it says a lot.
We travel in similar circles, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with that. Let's start with alignment and relationships and how that happens, where you end up finding yourself at another location where you don't even know you guys are going to be there.
Yeah. Totally. Well, I mean, I think that you tend to attract people that are like you, that have similar interests. Yeah. And I think we both really enjoy connecting with people, like genuine connections with people.
Yeah.
And so we tend to go toward events where there are genuine people that want to connect.
Yeah. And let's touch on social audio for a second, because that was during the pandemic and we were all at home. And one thing I said, if you can just imagine a guy like me, okay, loves people, loves networking, being stuck in a lockdown like we all were. I just wasn't having it. Right?
Yeah, right.
So social audio came out, and I remember it was invite only on that one in particular platform. And it was like this big hype. And then we got on there. What drew you to that? Was it the connection that you were missing because we were all in lockdown, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just having genuine conversations with people. And I love the fact that the conversation was the great equalizer. There are people that are influencers on platforms like Instagram and whatever that are empty shells, right?
Yeah.
But to be successful on that platform, you had to have a genuine interest in other people and a genuine ability to carry out a conversation with others. And so you had a lot of really interesting people from all walks of life that just shared one thing. They're people you wanted to talk to.
Yeah. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Well,
and you know what I noticed on there?
They self-selected.
Well, you know what I noticed on there was that everybody wanted to act like they knew everything. And so that happens in real life as well. Like I say real life, it was real life there, but it was not, off that app, which was a social audio app. How do you navigate that, where people, you get around, maybe you're trying to help them or they're coming to you for things, but they think they know everything?
Well, I think one of my favorite notions is like when someone resists, you let them resist, and all they'll be left with is their own resistance. So, and it's a similar thing. It's like I work with a lot of people that come to me as like the expert on patents, but they think they already know. They think they already know, and they already have a path in mind, and I try and sell them on taking a step back to look at maybe some of their assumptions are incorrect. And there are just some people that don't want to hear it. And so, and that's one of the ways in which I select clients is like, if they really are open to my help, then it's going to naturally like fall into place and we'll start working together. But if they think they know everything already, then they're just not going to hear my advice, and they're not going to hear the value that I bring. And so it's not going to be a match.
Yeah. In business, I started out in sales, and I was taught follow up, right? But as I got older, I started to realize, wait a minute, I'm in chase mode.
Yeah.
And chase mode is never fulfilling. It's always the next thing. And I started thinking of this, and I want to hear your take on this. I started thinking, what if there was a way to create an attraction model where you didn't chase anymore? Yeah. And if somebody didn't want to listen to you, didn't want to work with you, you were good with it because you're like, okay, well, I got an attraction to attract the right client. Because not everybody's the right client, even if they're willing to pay you, right? So what are your thoughts on creating an attraction model in like business, but also life or partners and relationships and different things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense when people, just in terms of the follow-up piece, it's like I usually look towards an earned follow-up. So it's like I don't follow up with people that I have conversations with unless in that conversation it was clear that there was a reason to follow up and something that they would value in the follow-up. So like we're having a conversation about something, there's something else they need to figure out. I'm like, you know what? Like, how about I check in with you next week and we'll talk more about this. because if it's kind of like if they're willing to end the conversation without having a next step set, then that's really on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, what if they're ready to go, but they're not ready to pay you yet?
yeah.
What does your follow-up look like from there?
Yeah, so if they're ready to go, but they're not ready to pay, but like I look for some inkling of like that they need to work something out, and so then I'm going to follow up with them about that. So okay, yeah, like you needed to like someone saying that they needed to have a conversation with their partner. Okay, great. Well, I mean, first of all, how do you think that conversation is going to go? Like. Yeah. Do you expect that they're going to be on board with this, or what do you think to them? Like, a lot of times I try to have a conversation with them to coach them through what that conversation is going to be with their partner or with their spouse, yep. And say, well, how do you think that's going to go? Are they usually supportive of the ideas that you have? And so a lot of times I try to set them up for success in the next stage, yep. And just plant a seed of what my role is going to be. So great, you're going to have that conversation with them, and then like when are you going to have that by this weekend? How about we have a quick call next week to see if you're ready to go at that point? Yeah. Or after you have that conversation, send me a message. Let me know how it went. Yeah. So I like to put something in place, and then if they don't do that, then obviously they have less interest in following through. And I'm big on integrity. I'm big on people doing what they say. And so it's kind of like someone who doesn't do what they say, I don't really want them as a client anyway. Yeah. I don't want their money, because I value communication above all with clients, and like people that don't follow through even in communication steps, it's going to take a whole lot more effort to service their account anyway.
Because then you get into chase mode after they sign up as well.
Right,
and then
exactly.
You're chasing
it's never ending. And how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And so truly the DNA of how they're going to operate as a client is right there in that conversation.
We talk about that a lot internally. Yeah, for sure. Like, well, if they're doing this now, what do you think it's going to be like when they pay you?
Yeah. Exactly. And if they're wishy-washy about this one part now, they'll probably forever be wishy-washy about that type of thing.
Yeah. And the people that say, hey, yeah, let's go. I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
They're the easiest clients.
Yeah.
They 100%. Really are. So people, you know what? It comes down to decision. How quick can you make a decision?
Yeah.
How important has that been for you in entrepreneurship with what you do in making quick decisions, but being slow to change your mind, though, afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of I know it when I see it. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I could think of just about every provider I've ever worked with. It wasn't a long, drawn-out process. It was like, I want this. I totally want this. As an example, so it's like I made a series of videos on patents back in 2011, and they did really well because you know what? Back then, no one did any content about patents, and so they were widely watched. People that watched them, like they vibed with me, and so they became clients. And I've forever been thinking, I got to do more videos. But you know what? I never get around to it. And I've been saying, what I really want is someone to come along and say, Rich, I'm going to book the video production. You just show up. I'll give you 5 topics, and then you can just riff on them. I was like, that's great. That's what I want. Someone to manage it, right?
Yeah.
And so, I met someone that has that type of done-for-you YouTube service, and I'm like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And so there's no like courting sales process. It was just like,
I got to think
like,
about
how do we start? Like, what's your process? And so they're going to make me 100 videos over the next year, long and a short per week. But that was a no-brainer for me because, I knew it when I saw it because it was something that really matched with what I already wanted.
Well, that's the thing in business too. Most people think they have to do everything themselves.
Yeah.
And then they limit their success and limit their productivity. And so one thing that's helped me is when I was scaling a mortgage real estate business, I started to realize like I got to get things off my plate that I don't like to do and I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And then stay in my genius. Now I can always work on my weaknesses, but I shouldn't be focused on those things. I should get somebody else to. Even if it costs me more now, it's an investment. So have you done that in your practice?
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. And so I'm super ADD.
Yeah.
Right? And so just naturally, like organization type things don't come naturally to me. And so just having people that I work with that can handle that. I've got the best admin people.
Yeah.
Like my office manager is with me for 23 years.
Wow.
And my second, let's say second admin person has been with me for 14 years.
Yeah. That's
And, they are, they're both super organized and on top of things, but also in unique ways. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because one of them will never make a mistake, but they might miss an appointment here or there. They might be 5 minutes late to a call. The other one will never miss a call, but they might make a mistake here or two.
Right.
And so it's just really interesting to find that match. And yeah, like I've got the greatest team, and that truly is
makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, it's truly the secret to my success.
So let's talk about some of those topics that you would be doing videos on.
Yeah.
What would be some of those? Give us a couple.
Well, it's all related to patents, and a lot of entrepreneurs just don't understand what they should be paying attention to with regard. And there's a lot of redirection that they get when they try and look into it, and then they're looking into the wrong things. They have notions of what they should be doing to protect their IP. And that's going back to the first thing we talked about is like often they come in thinking they know what they should be doing. They're like, well, I want to file a provisional patent application and a design on that. And you know what? If I look at it, I might say, you might want to wait before you do that and develop this feature further before we even bother with a patent application. Or I might say, I don't even see any potential patent applications here. You should be focusing on trademarks. You should be building a brand, and you should be protecting that with trademarks and putting your effort into building up that brand so that people want to buy your product. Even if you have copycats, they want to buy yours because of your brand name.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the content has to do with getting them to think like I do, with regard to looking at the role that IP plays in their business.
Yeah. And do you find that a lot of people get confused with trademarks and patents?
Oh, they totally do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll say, that's a really cool name for a product, you should patent that. Or like, what a great idea, you should copyright that.
Yep.
But first of all, you can't copyright ideas, you copyright content.
Yep.
And you can't patent the name for business, that's a trademark. So people get confused between that stuff. So yeah.
And how did you decide to be a patent attorney of all the things you could do?
ADD.
Yeah.
So pretty much how it went is I was studying electrical engineering. I also started a business while I was in college. And I realized that the reality of being an engineer would be working on the same project day in and day out for years at a time. Yeah. Like you don't get to design an airplane. You get to design like the ventilation system over the seat, and then you work on that for 5 years. So, with my ADD nature, I was like, there's no way I could tolerate that. And so I saw a couple of different paths that I could take finishing up my engineering degree. One was become what's called a sales engineer. And those are like the people that sell like MRI machines. Yeah. Like really technical stuff where you need to know the technology and also be a salesperson. Yeah. And the other one was to become a patent lawyer, where you have an engineering degree and then also a law degree. And so essentially finished engineering, went to law school, and now I get to work on something different every day, which totally fits my ADD personality.
And how does it work in being a patent attorney versus any other kind of corporate attorney, a litigator, or whatever? Because obviously they sometimes charge hourly. How does that work with being a patent attorney?
Well, first of all, one part of it is a lot of times I can use my experience to draw a fence around what I'm going to have to do. And so I can charge a flat fee as opposed to hourly. People that are litigating, they don't know what it's going to be. Or people who are negotiating a contract for you, they don't know how many rounds of back and forth it's going to be.
They stretch it out on purpose, don't they? No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
I'm just kidding,
sometimes.
folks. Any
Sometimes.
attorneys that are listening, lawyers listening, I
Yeah,
apologize.
I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I'm sure some do and some don't, right? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but-
So generally it happens for those wondering to file a patent, have somebody do that for you. Generally, is it flat fee?
Yeah,
Yeah, for the most part?
exactly. It's like I know it when I see it, and I know how the complexity of it, what I'm going to need to do to explain the invention to the patent office, the amount of drawings I'm going to need, the amount of time it's going to take for me to show the patent office what it is, how it's different from things that have been done before, and really start the process of convincing them that it's worth granting a patent to this person.
And how often is a patent request rejected?
Like most of the time initially. And then when we get to fight it, we'll convince them to overturn it and to approve it.
Okay. And are you allowed to share this? I don't know if you're allowed to share this or not, but what's the most, number one, interesting patent that you ever got? And what's the one that like took off business-wise?
Oh, that's it's really tough to say, but
Pick one that would be interesting to us, whatever you think.
okay. Well, actually, a recent client. Let's see how I could describe it. Basically, it was a biomedical type product, and he filed a bunch of patents. He had me file a bunch of patents for it, and he just did a 409 valuation, which is basically putting a value on his business. Now, typically businesses are valued on EBITDA and a multiple, so it's based on yearly profit. By the typical measures, he might have been looking at a $10 or $15 million valuation. But the valuation came back as 60-something million. I'm not going to say the exact number just because people might match it up.
Before we go further,
Yeah?
what is a 409 evaluation?
It's kind of like a technical evaluation that needs to be done for compliance.
Okay, so it's like
So
an
it's
appraisal
like
on a house.
it's like an appraisal,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
And so, but essentially the valuation came back 60 million plus because of the patents that we did.
Gotcha.
So,
Patents are an asset.
Yeah, so it was like more than a $40 million gain based upon those patents.
Gotcha. And so what's the one that you thought was the most interesting that comes to the top of mind?
It's
like one
it's
that
really,
you were like, wow.
It's really hard to figure out the most interesting. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll tell you, like one of the kind of least monetizable was, I had an old couple come to me years ago that wanted to patent a new method of tying shoelaces, and it's like it's a way in which you can make the knot so it doesn't come undone. And it actually works.
Yeah.
But I asked them, so let's assume we get a patent on this. How are you going to make money from this?
Right.
They didn't have an answer. They didn't care. Okay, we went ahead. I was able to get them a patent where it was kind of difficult to illustrate how exactly you did it, but I got them a patent on this new method of tying shoelaces, but to me, there was no point to that.
Yeah, no, because then they came out with, you see in golf shoes, they have the BOA where you turn the dial and it clicks.
Right.
And it releases it.
Yeah.
You got Velcro. So there's other methods to it, but I get it. So I had another question on patents. What was it? Oh, man, it was a good one. Do you ever look at opportunities to get equity in the companies from your position, or is that a conflict of interest? If it's a good idea and you're like, man,
It is a conflict of interest. And I guess the way I would say is it's not per se unethical. They say it's possible after a full disclosure, but the other way I'd put it is it's like frowned upon. Like you shouldn't take an interest in someone's property. It would be like doing a real estate deal and taking a piece of the house that I'm managing the closing of.
Right.
It's highly frowned upon.
Unless you can provide value back beyond what you normally do, right? Like if you had obviously invested in it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ethical challenges to it, and part of it also is really like you want to be able to advise them on what's best for them, and if you have an interest in it and you just want to get paid, your advice is not necessarily going to be aligned with theirs.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
and then since you have ADD, ADHD, whatever it is,
right.
I don't even believe in those things, by the way. But we'll talk about that on another podcast. No, we can't go into that right now. But anyway.
Oh, I would love to.
I'm not saying, yeah. So, but how do you stay focused on being a patent attorney and not looking at other opportunities? Or do you?
Yeah, no, I pretty much do. I mean, but I guess being a patent attorney is just a core part of how I function. It's like I'm a big fan of leverage. Being ADD, looking to kind of make the most out of something is how I see my clients' projects as well. It's like, well, what's the thing we can do here that can have the biggest impact? So it kind of fits well into the DNA of how I operate.
Okay. And do you go through moments? How long have you been a patent attorney?
Yeah, I've been a patent attorney for 31 years at this point.
Okay. So
yeah.
do you go through moments where you lose passion for it and you have to do something to reinvigorate it? Or is it always
yes?
Well,
what I tell you is I don't have much passion for actually writing patent applications anymore. I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
I'm a writer by nature, like an excellent writer, and so I've written thousands of patent applications. But it's hard for me to just focus on a project like that for 30, 40 hours or whatever. But what I can do is look at something, spend 15 to 20 minutes figuring out what direction it should go, giving instructions to other people of what to do.
Yeah.
And I never grow tired of that.
Okay. So it's like a dentist. I went to the dentist for my 6-month checkup the other day, and the hygienist is in there most of the time. And my buddy, I golf with the dentist, right? He comes in, 3 seconds really, looks at it, all right, good. But he gives him advice on the x-rays. And so similar to that, right? Like you kind of oversee and give direction and then have the execution done by the
exactly.
team. Yeah.
And that uses me. I mean, the thing that really wears on me is getting stuck actually in the work.
Yeah.
But triaging it and figuring out the best strategy, like that never gets old or tiring to me.
Okay. And so what's going on right now that has you excited? Like what is your focus every day now? Like besides just that part, like is there something you're working on?
Yeah, it's growing the capacity of my business. So where I am right now is I'm seeking to structure things to be able to do more work. I've got lots of opportunities coming my direction, and I spend a good amount of my time weeding through those, and I'm looking to have more ability to look at something, see what needs to be done, and give it to someone who can then execute on it well. So I'm actively engaged in increasing the capacity of my team.
And so what does that look like?
Looks like bringing on other attorneys. It means bringing in some experts that are kind of more like part-time on a contract basis, but it's like creating those systems.
Yeah, so what I found with doing that in business is what value can I bring to someone that can do these things that they don't want to do themselves again, or they're not good at it, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you're good at relationships and
Yes.
building the relationships and marketing and having that initial conversation with the client, and they just want to do the work and do those kind of things. Great, perfect relationship.
That's typically how it goes
Yeah,
with
yeah.
most patent attorneys. Don't have much personality, don't do well with relationships,
Right.
can't explain things very well.
Yeah.
And to me, that's part of my gift with regard to patents is I could break it down, I could explain it in plain English. People watch my videos or watch my content or read my book, and they say, why couldn't someone else explain it that way? And it's just kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody has patent questions or they want to go deeper with you, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, first of all, you can check out my website, goldsteinpatentlaw.com. You could also check out the book I wrote, the ABA Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent. And if you want to find out if it's a match to work with us, just contact us through the website, which is goldsteinpatentlaw.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Always enjoy hanging out with you, man.
I always enjoy hanging out with you.
All right, folks, we're up against the clock. That's the BA Podcast with your boy C-Roc and Rich Goldstein here in Dallas. Thank you so much for watching or listening. However you're consuming this content, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button at the top of your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, it's your boy C-Roc signing off. See you later. Be that one.